7 p.m. and we are ready to start our meeting. First step would be to adopt our agenda.
I move that we adopt the agenda as posted.
Second.
Motion and a second. Anyone have any changes that they would like to add? None heard. All in favor of the adopting the agenda as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No one. Selectboard remarks, small crowd. I'm sure this crowd will behave, so I'm not going to even say anything. Item 3, unless somebody else wants to say anything. No. Okay, item 3.
I move that we adopt a consent agenda for approval of the recurring matters of minutes of August 2025, the fiscal year 26 warrant, and the 2 special event liquor permits issued by the town clerk.
Second that.
Okay, motion and a second for consent on A, B, and C of item 3. Any discussion? None heard. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, then that was just as everyone minds consent. That's at everybody. But
That was creating the consent.
that's
agenda.
creating this consent. So now, anyone have anything to add to the minutes or the questions on the warrant? If not, let's vote. All in favor of A, B, and C, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Item 4, town manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the board. I might just highlight a couple of things from the report that was posted. One would be the public meeting on the future of the community newspaper of record, The Reporter, will be held in the town hall in this room on Thursday, September 18th at 7 o'clock. A second for the folks who attend by Zoom. In the future, all of the boards, commissions, and so forth will use the same Zoom meeting ID, which is the one that had previously been the select board, and we'll keep the other Zoom meeting IDs to be used when there's 2 being held concurrently. We will try to avoid those situations. Volunteer board seats are open for an alternate on the DRB, a voting member of the Planning Commission, and a voting member of the Energy Committee. You can submit an application to me for consideration by the select board. You have the various reports for the little missions that we break the work up into on my report, and I do have updates that I've submitted to the select board tonight. This week, the wastewater staff plan to jet lines and to deploy the Route X in the collection system. This shouldn't affect users. They should be able to continue on without any interruption. They are also working on some increased grease control in the manholes on Center Street. Those are all kind of downgrade from the restaurants. The highway staff plans to fluid film all the highway vehicles this week. I actually went up this afternoon and they were already working on the first one. It's good protection to keep the town's investments over several years. The midsummer grading of the dirt roads in Goshen was completed Tuesday, Wednesday last week. And so what's left for us to do in Goshen as far as the contracted work is another grading of the dirt roads before the winter. We are still working to try to get a new signals company in to deal with the traffic light delays on Route 7. The company that we're working with has been super responsive, but they are super busy. They're local, and we hope to have them in as soon as we can to see about timing to keep Route 7 moving. Chief Kachajian did get quotes on new Glock service weapons related to the replacement of the SIG Sauers that we talked about a couple meetings ago. He hopes to have a quote on the Walther option later this week, but he would like to expedite this, so they may go with the Glocks. Jackie has been doing a huge amount of work in Nemrick to deal with redundant and non-postable lines that will help us in our budget drafting workshop series this year. It should be a lot clearer, especially in certain departments that have historically had a lot of lines compared to the dollars, like Bill's rec department programming and so forth. It's going to be presented differently this year. And then on the other side of the paper are the July and August land use permits that are zoning administrator Larry Stevens has issued just for the select board's awareness of what kinds of stuff has been happening at the park.
Okay, let's do, and so there's a land use permit for 12 Street.
Yes,
That's the distillery,
yes,
and so it's apartment upstairs. in the
right,
building?
yeah. Right, so the land use ordinance allows for commercial spaces on first floor. We don't allow residential spaces in.
Do we have an idea of what?
I would think the economic development officer might be in a position to say.
I spoke with the new owner,
yet.
Bill Moore.
or might not.
Well, yeah, and it's more of the like might not yet, like they've got an idea about something. There's a new owner of that building, changed hands, I want to say within the last month. And the new owner has some ideas about investing money into the building and bringing in a tenant downstairs, but without anything signed, I'd feel uncomfortable putting that out there.
Oh, there was one other question that came up since I even did the updates, and that was about the paving. So the paving of Town Farm Road's completed, but the paving company's got to come in still and redo some of the patchwork that was done by the fire district earlier for water stuff.
I'm kind of compliment on the one on North Street. Oh. There is the first smooth one, the big pitch in town in a long time. We go over that one and it's not just all easy. So that's really nice. I was gonna ask you if they could repair any of the other ones that are really bad.
So again, the fire district engaged the same paving company that the town engaged for efficiency. And I think that they're planning to address all of the patches that were done last year.
Questions for the town manager from the board? Questions for the town manager from the public?
Is there any update on the RIP and with all the loan funds, the loan you had?
No,
Question? Moving on to community development, Mr. Moore.
Thank you. This is my report for today, the 8th of September. New session of Aikido is going to be starting on September the 29th. Beginner advanced classes on Mondays and Saturdays at the town hall upstairs. Miss Michaela Dance is back for the fall. Ballet, hip hop, and tap being offered to youth ages 3 through 15 and adult classes for those 16 and older starting on September 30th and running through mid-December. Tuesdays and Fridays on the stage upstairs at the town hall. Table tennis on Tuesdays with Commissioner Arlen Bloodworth will be coming back to the Otter Valley North Campus Gymnasium for fall and winter. It'll be a 6:30 start time on Tuesdays. Our numbers are up from last year for all our youth sports offerings. And a reminder, well, this has changed a little bit. Floor hockey is going to be starting on September the 14th. This is a new free adult offering on Sundays. It'll be available through the fall and winter. That's at Neshby School. An update that's not printed. I had a member of the Historic Preservation Commission reach out and wanted to talk with me about parking, and they're in the middle of their workbook update. They have a working committee meeting tomorrow. I plan on attending economic development, providing some guidance and help in working with historic preservation to make sure that the parking section is addressed and any other questions they might have around economic development, how that fits in with the Historic Preservation Commission's working group that's updating the workbook. 2002 was the last time it was updated. So there's some time for some change. I'm glad to help. I'm glad there's some volunteers that are working on it. And that is my update for today.
Questions for Mr. Moore from the board? Questions for Mr. Moore from the public? Yes.
For Spicky Disorder, I'm on the Historic Preservation Commission. Are you going to be able to provide updates on the traffic as well as parking? Lisa's working on parking. I'm working on traffic.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I can provide updates on that as well. What we had actually, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Moore?
Oh, and I did want to actually add one other thing, Mr. Chair, out of turn. Today we had 2 students from Otter Valley start with an internship program working with the town. They're 2 young individuals that are interested in differing career tracks, but both bring them through the town offices. And so they'll be working with us here Monday through Friday, generally 12 to 3. And they're fantastic. They're doing great work for us. And I'm hoping to expose them to the wonderful life of municipal work and perhaps maybe encourage them to consider a career path in that. But certainly we'll work together to do some great free labor. No, but they're fantastic young men, and I'm hoping to have them come to a meeting to meet you guys sometime, because
Kind of work will they be able to do?
anything and everything, from gluing from gluing the caps on the bottoms of the chairs to keep them from scratching, to office work, to helping it with filing. They're really ready to do anything, and today today was their first day, and they showed some willingness to do some fantastic work. We're really excited about having them.
Super. Yes.
Ralph brought it up about the revolving loan fund for the Ripon Distillery. Was there collateral in the building for that, since the building's been sold, and has it been removed?
So there was collateral in the building, and that has been removed. Yes.
All right. Item 5, appoint a new animal control officer. I believe Mr. Hopkins.
Mr. Chair, I didn't furnish a memo on this because it's fairly straightforward. Tim Kingston's been our animal control officer since March 22nd, 2021. He is now the chief wastewater treatment system operator for the town. So he has a little bit of increased responsibility in that regard since Steve retired, and he would like to get done as animal control officer. We did follow the town's policy, which is an internal posting first, and the internal posting yielded fruit. Our code officer, our zoning administrator, Larry Stevens, is willing to be appointed as animal control officer, and I would recommend that the board take him up on. It's an indefinite term with a stipend attached. It's kind of an on-call position.
And you believe he has the time with his other duties to be able to do that?
Right, so Larry's usual duties are with the town at the town office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 hours each day to do the zoning and the rental and health. And as I say, this is an on-call position, so it would be a as needed call out of the office or on weekends and evenings.
One more question I have is, have we ever had any tracking of how many calls they actually get?
We've had animal control officers in the past report the number of calls. I'm not sure what the report looked like last year. Can certainly check for that. While we're talking, it's not an average, I don't think, of more than once a week.
I recently spoke to Tim about it, and he said he gets a number of calls that aren't actual animal control calls.
Sure. So in page 22 of the previous year's report, but I'll just go with that. There were 29 calls that year for the animal control officer. So it's about 1 every 2 weeks.
Okay. Pleasure of the board.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Larry Stevens, animal control officer. Second.
Motion and a second to appoint Larry Stevens. Any additional conversation? Unheard. All in favor of appointing Larry Stevens, animal control officer, say aye.
Hi.
Aye. That was unanimous and loud. Larry's got it. Item 6, to set dates and times for the first 2 budget meeting workshops. We had talked about doing the 1st and 3rd
The off Mondays,
off
basically.
Mondays. And this is a weird month.
Right.
So I'm looking at it coming here. We could start on September 29th, but then if we do October 6th, we'd be only 1 week in between. So I feel you're already working on getting things together. Is that correct?
Yes, the department heads are working on their budget presentations. I've received 2. so far. And I think their due date to have those in to me was this coming Thursday. So we could meet, right, we could meet the 15th if you wanted to meet on the third Monday of September. There was some talk about maybe, last year we did a meeting without really any requests, just kind of a status on last year's closing. Maybe that's a good idea. We could certainly provide the detailed line by line settle out of FY 25. Certainly do that by Monday.
So by next month,
If you wanted to meet next Monday, that would be a possibility. And then like,
fine with me. I was planning on the same 7 PM start time and I had met with Seth today and suggested that I know that, well, you asked for spreadsheets from last year that we just closed out. And I thought that might be actually a good thing to discuss a little bit in that meeting too, that if we had the department heads come into the meeting to just discuss with us without really looking at numbers going forward, but just say, this is what happened last year. You know, these are our numbers. We had these many people working. We did these kind of jobs. Now this year we got budgeted this amount. What I see for the following year is, you know, and use it as a basis for the last one. It was prepared. I don't know if anyone feels that would be good, but I think it would clearly in highway and whatever, highway PD, it might be interesting to, as a starting point, to start the conversation.
and those two departments are half of the spending, right?
Right.
It's half the budget.
Yeah. So a quick look back in the mirror, and then a look at the present where we are, and then, because of course, we're talking about 8-10 months from now, when the budget's gonna start, so. That's the way I would like to do it, and start with it. I'm fine. I certainly believe to start on September 15th. How's the rest of the board?
Yeah, first for me.
Would we skip the 29th? in that case?
Pardon?
Would we skip the 29th in that case?
I would think we would, because we'd be coming right back around. The first would only be a week later, it'd be October 6th. So I would think September 15th and October 6th, that's. Yeah, and then October 20th.
17th.
This month is the only one.
Just one.
We get the weird calendar every now and then. So actually, we could set the first 3 if that's okay with you, Seth.
You could set the whole series through November if you want. I mean, that
Yeah,
sounded
I
like
mean,
what Basil
realistically,
was suggesting.
we're gonna meet here. We're gonna meet at 7 PM. And it's gonna be the off meeting from our select board. So
Do we want to put a,
October 20th. November 3rd, November 17th. We have to go into December 1st.
why don't we go ahead for 1, 2, 3, 4? I can post all 5.
Yeah.
In one. In previous years, we've kind of gone 7 to 9, like you've set an outer
Yeah,
limit on
9
that.
o'clock,
Probably a good.
we're
idea.
done. Any other discussions on budget workshops?
We don't need a motion on that, do we?
Pardon?
We don't need a motion on that, right?
No.
No.
Excuse me. Item 7, ordinance review update.
At my calendar. Okay, so Jeff and I have been coming through the ordinances and policies. Tonight, I'm just identifying 3 ordinances that should be repealed, but they may already be repealed by implication. So I'm gonna have Mr. Hoffman provide some of this, but so we have 2 ordinances that, one is the Central Business District Sidewalk and Merchandise Display Ordinance, and one is the Wireless Telecommunications Facilities Ordinance Town Plan. when the land use ordinances were updated, they included a central business district sign ordinance and a wireless telecommunication. I don't know if, so legally, we would call that repealed by implication. Question is whether we want to make it official. So we would do that.
So if you're asking, I think you should make an official repeal just so they don't drop off without any record of affirmative, positive action to be.
The same is for the sewage ordinance for individual sewage. That is, has been superseded by the larger sewer ordinance, which contains a section about that. So.
Do you have the date on that one?
This
Is
one-
there a date? There's not a date on all.
This one is 1994. The wireless telecommunications one does not have the not have date on it. Oh, wait, 2002. And the sidewalk ordinance is 2020. So these again are all what I would call repealed by implication, but the helping suspenders, I would suggest that.
So could I ask about that? The one I'm a little concerned about is the sewage or septic system. Does that speak to like standards and stuff? Was that as long ago as when the town was actually issuing permits to install? And now the state does all of that? Or was this a different matter?
Since I looked at the state sewer laws, the state sewer laws still talk about town settings. Or at least issuing. So
I don't-
that was.
it doesn't-
No one was talking for.
Oh, I've got like multiple experiences in the town office when someone has come in about a house and we've questioned where it was going to be and was it connected to the sewer system or not. And when it's not, and it's going to require a private septic system, they've always been referred directly to the state for a state design flow standard and for the state permit. And I don't have any recollection that the town has issued one since I've been for a local permit for a septic system.
So it says the Secretary of Natural Resources adopts the standards for municipal ordinances regulating sewage. So the rules may contain recommended procedures for municipalities to use in considering application permits. And then it states that a municipality may adopt an ordinance under chapter 59 of this title relating to sewage systems. And then it says municipal ordinances related to sewage systems that were approved before July 1984 shall remain in effect. An ordinance under the statute shall require a permit for the installation or replacement of sewage systems. And so I read that as saying that still something the municipality may do.
I guess now that you've read that, I would put it in the category of like wiring. Like we don't have a wiring inspector. We may have a wiring inspector. Some towns do have a wiring inspector, but we don't.
So
So maybe we should look for some board action that said we weren't wanting to have a local.
So what that would entail would require us to amend the sewer use ordinance. Because Article 3 of that regards private wastewater disposal. And it includes the states.
Is there a date on that one?
The date on that one is. Sorry, these are in so many different formats. 1987 with the most recent amendment being 1992 regarding payment plans.
So I think, based on the longest tenured town employee, she remembers the town issuing sewer permits, which she started in 1988. But she knows at some point, the town stopped issuing septic system permits. And so you're saying that the bigger ordinance, 1987 and 1992, comes before the 1994 one that you're talking about potentially being
No.
repealed. And
So this one, yeah, so this one was originally adopted in 1987
mhm,
with amendments, minor amendments in 1991 and 1992.
mhm.
And, this one.
So I think we should try and ascertain whether there's a date at which the state did advise that they were issuing permits that were sufficient for their purposes in the county. That's we have to provide. That the town hasn't issued septic.
Maybe we look at the two easy repeals next week and we do a different. Not part of it.
Have a copy of the policies that are in question and a brief written reason for change available for the board members. I don't know if you can send them out to us or something.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what
And then,
I was just identifying them for
right,
this,
correct.
and then I will.
and then it inform, I know you do the front page forum stuff too. Just saying, inform the public and have a packet available
Yeah,
that
we
someone
can-
could
we
pick
can-
up at the town.
Well, we
office
could
if they
post,
were-
we can post on the town website,
Yeah.
we can
Yeah.
send it out by front porch form.
Yeah.
I
So-
did want to, at this point, because we're getting serious, Mr. Bailey had suggested at the outset of this that we think about the dates that the select board actually consider and take action as being possibly two different dates. Because we're going to get to a point where we're going to need to make some legal advertisements.
Right.
And if we do them like in one collective legal ad, it will be one price instead of doing that same price over and over and over
Right.
again.
Right.
So maybe, if the board wants to consider some stuff and tee it up, so to speak.
Yeah.
I think that's in keeping with what you were suggesting. The best use of the town's money as far as legal ads.
Right, and so by consider more than what we're doing right now.
Yeah, you could discuss a lot more depth. Yeah. And just hold off on actually like voting to repeal or amend.
Okay,
So you're saying kind of go through everything, or at least as much as we're gonna go
And then
through,
put it on the
and
table.
then whenever.
Yep.
yeah, I mean, we figured these two would be easier. Subject, Early superfluous at this point.
My thoughts are, while it's easy, we should tee them up for the public to also see that we're,
Yep.
openly discussing them, and anyone can come get a copy, see if there's something there, like if it's a shop owner wants to read the sidewalk thing, how it's affected them or whatever compared to the blue low. So no one's thinking we're pulling something off in the darkness of night or something.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I just think that would be the easiest way to do it. And then we can actually discuss them and decide which way we want to go and then hold them, as you say, to a point that we do a bunch together.
Yeah, and it's worth noting too that Cecil and I are still, mostly Cecil, but I'm helping a little. Going through and figuring out what the state says about a lot of this stuff that hasn't been updated since before I was born and all these things. And it's, there's, like one of the vehicle ordinance doesn't mention e-bikes at all and all these things that we just have to kind of parse out. So there's a lot of just figuring out stuff that's happening before we even come to this point. So we're figuring it out.
Do you have what you need at this point?
I do, I just. Trying to see, I thought I had like one that we didn't have to do anything at all. I was gonna point that out as, we don't have to do anything at all. But maybe I'm wrong, maybe all of them.
I don't remember one where we didn't have to do. There's some that have typos in the titles.
Yeah, that's always fun. Yeah, I mean, some of the things that require changing really is just there are typos or throughout many of the older ones, there are references to selectmen that will be changed to select board or select units, select people.
And I wonder if it would be a good idea for the board to think about, the VLCT has like model ordinances for lots of things, and we could model those for certain situations. And even when they don't have a model ordinance for something Brandon might have and want to keep, one of their best practices has always been at the very beginning of the ordinance, you should put under which title of the Vermont statutes you think you have the authority to enact this ordinance. So we might need to do a little bit of
Yeah, and
adding prefaces to some.
I've noted on some of them where that needs to be added. And like, for example, our alcohol control ordinance contains some language that actually wasn't shoehorned into what the the statute giving us authority to control. We relied on the one about nuisances to allow us to have open container laws. There's actually now a separate section allowing municipalities to ordinance open containers. So we just need to add those sections to it. So we're no longer just kind of using broad language to like, yeah, that's a nuisance. Yeah, so that's, and we are looking at what other towns have done to see if they've like addressed the e-bike thing. Jeff remembered in the past, you've always kind of looked at Bennington to see what they've done, or so we're looking at other towns. We're also looking at the VLCT to see, what they have. Because another thing that we're trying to do is standardize them because the formatting is all over the map. And then we'll also Jeff suggested, I think it's a good suggestion, create a template for future ordinances so that when we're all dead and gone, they still look the same.
And it's not to disparage previous work of any boards. It's just they were all written at different times when
Exactly.
different standards were
Absolutely.
common.
Yeah.
Right. And I think even if the template changes over time, at least then there is some sort of guiding document to work with, hopefully.
Cool.
And that's all we've got.
All right. Everyone set on that? Yep. We are up to public comment. Anyone from the public wish to comment? Yes, Bill.
Okay. Brent Bueller again. I want to thank Tim Kingston for his service. I had a couple of experiences with him. He did a great job, was really responsive and stuck with it. So thank you, Tim.
And Tim has said that he's happy to assist Larry, going forward and certainly to train, do some transition stuff, but also be available just in case.
Last call for public comment. None heard.
This is not public. This is just Bill. I guess I'm public. I would encourage everybody to attend the meeting if you have any sort of care whatsoever for the reporter and the work that they've done to try and keep it alive. They are having a meeting here. I know that Seth mentioned it before, but I think it bears repeating. Just to show up here and either say thank you or come up with a brilliant plan and millions of dollars to make it happen in a different way.
Yeah, I think it's a vital service for the town. I've already met and talked with Steve, so he knows how I feel that having a town newspaper is just so good for a town. So it would be wonderful if enough people come and enough people that are willing to step up and move forward. There's been many different versions of the town newspaper in the 42 years I've lived here. And this one's been very good, and it's just sad to see that it could go away. So I agree, Bill.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Have a second. All in favor of adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
We're done.